From the George G. Beasley Media Complex and the Wayne L. Sumner Studio. Proudly serving for 50 years as Appalachian State University's college radio station. 90.5 WASU-FM Boone. Stream us at WA.
Pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Wins the game at the buzzer! Pass is caught! Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Gives it to Jenkins for the championship. And Baez sends it deep to left. Pagan is there at the wall and it's in the basket! He's got his J-bag, folks, and the eye of the tiger. And the kick is blocked. Appalachian State has stunned the college football world. One of the greatest upsets in sports history.
It's time for SportsWrapp on 90.5 WASU-FM.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Happy Thursday, everyone. Another beautiful day for, is it a flat? Because
You
or
mean a
drum,
drum or a
yeah.
flat? Yeah.
Is it a drum or a flat? Because there's so much debate about that.
Mm-hmm.
I myself, I'm a drum guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because flat, when you get too many bones in there, it's kind of tough to navigate to find the meat. So I'm a drum guy.
It's definitely drum, 100%. I think, though, we were eating with another friend of ours who got some bone-in wings, and he was like, there's an 80-20 ratio. 80% of the time, the drum comes into play, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is easy chicken. And then the 20% is that, like, once or twice that, like, you actually want the challenge, apparently. I still prefer drums. Speaking of which, it's wing night at Ale tonight, so.
Free plug.
I was going to say, yeah, free plug for them. But, yeah, definitely drum.
Yeah, no, I agree with the drum. You know, when you get in the flat, sometimes you get like meat in between the two bones, and then it's like hard to kind of get the meat out from between the two bones.
There is a method you can like push out, but that's too much work.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah, too much work. Yeah, so I'm surprised. Yeah, we all kind of agreed on that. I was thinking we would have somebody that would end up disagreeing, but. Yeah, I'm glad we all know what we're talking about when it comes to chicken wings. So we're
that might be the only time we're on the same page tonight.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you two, on the other hand, are definitely going to be on the same page. Me, I'm fighting a battle against an entire army.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and I guess get into it now. So like we said, Final Four preview, and I should have retitled this because we're not even going to preview the Final Four. We're just going to really just preview the one game that everybody's talking about the most, and that's Duke and Carolina. So the greatest rivalry of all time meets for the first time in March in the tournament in over 250 games between the two schools, with a spot on the for the national championship game on the line. Would y'all say or think it's safe to say that this could potentially be the greatest Duke and Carolina game of all time, just with what's at stake?
I think the adjective is wrong. It's definitely the most important game in this rivalry, I think, with everything at stake. I wouldn't say it's the best or the greatest because obviously
There's been plenty.
Yeah, both teams have had so much more talent, I think, in the past. Not as big a gap as Duke at Duke because they have a very talented team this year. But, North Carolina's coming in as an 8 seed in this game. So there have been plenty of, better matchups if you're just talking guy on guy. But this is easily, not even close. It is the most important game in this rivalry.
Okay.
Yes.
Here we go. These next 25 minutes are going to probably be
They're going to break
HE double hockey sticks for my PC folks watching at home. But, okay. Let's just put this out here. Duke UNC, right? So Coach K's potential last game, Hubert Davis has the potential to go 2-1 versus Coach K and close that book. I do think you have a point. It's a very good point, Jason. I mean, this rivalry dates back to before our grandparents were old enough to watch these games. So really, Coach K right now, if you look at the numbers, Coach K 50-49 against UNC in his tenure. It's 50-49. He's got one game on him, and the actual points total scored, it's about 20-point difference. They're both about 7,700 points. So it doesn't get any closer than this. Duke does have the slight edge on that in terms of all of that, but it's literally we're grabbing at straws here. I think right now, basketball has, over the years, we were talking about this pre-show, over the years the rivalry has changed a little bit. The talent gap has kind of gotten smaller, so to speak, and matchups are starting to be, I guess, taken advantage of or found out within these rivalries. Coach K has found certain defenses that work against UNC or Hubert Davis and Roy Williams have found schemes that work against the Duke zone. So I think it is very. I'm not looking forward to this game just due to the amount of stress. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. All of us in this room are stressing. Don't let Jason over there in his cool face try to act like he's not stressing. He is sweating so much under that big Carhartt hoodie of his. So, and it gets already hot in here. So, literally, a lot of things are going to be said, but I just want to say right now and put this out on the table. Let me cough it up. I don't know what is going to happen. Obviously, Duke through and through. I can never pick against Duke. I just can't, especially in a Duke-UNC rivalry.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, exactly. But just saying.
I saw earlier today the over-under is about 151. A lot of people are actually taking the over, which is surprising to me because both teams all tournament have played great defensively. But at the same time, both of these teams have been kind of shooting lights out. So I guess I want to get into more of like the betting side of things. Would you take the over of 151 in this game?
See, the tough thing with these games is playing at a football stadium. That background that you're shooting into is not natural whatsoever. Yep. Taking a look at the last Final Four that was in New Orleans, totals were in the 120s, 130s, but that was with a 35-second shot clock, so it's a little bit different going this time around. But as you said, both teams are shooting the lights out. 151 is, Vegas knows what they're doing. That's a pretty good number. I'd naturally go under as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, the under typically is the more popular pick. Because, like you said, it's in a football stadium, and as much as I would like to say, both teams can defend pretty good, like both teams. So unless the defense is just collapse and it just turns into a complete shooting fest, like if there's no other challenges. Now, with that, while I love and respect his I love his attitude. It did stand out to me. What a great guy. But he clearly has not watched tape on Duke. He clearly has not looked at the tape from the game that they lost by 30. And I guess maybe Mark Williams didn't have a good game. Maybe A.J. Griffin didn't go for 20+. But I also think another matchup to take advantage of. I'll go into matchups like you did. Anybody, literally anybody, a dead person, anybody that Brady Manick is guarding will have a good game. And Brady Manick is essentially like being guarded by one of those NFL dummies that like the defensive linemen swim past. That is essentially Brady Manick guarding you. So anybody that Brady Manick is guarding, which will probably be a 4 or a 3, it depends. He's not going to probably guard 5. I would assume maybe he would switch in a screen and roll situation. But whoever he is being guarded by or whoever he was guarding will have a heyday. And then like you said, Jeremy Roach. Jeremy Roach is heating up, but then his friend, his PVI, I don't know if you guys know what PVI is. That's Paul V, the academy that both of them went to in Virginia. Jeremy Roach and Trevor Keels. They both went there, had this vision of winning a championship together. Jeremy Roach has been stealing the spotlight in the tournament. But please do not forget about Trevor Keels. Trevor Keels had 25 points in the first game of the season, one of the first games of the season, against Oscar Tshiebwe in Kentucky, where we beat them. I believe they were ranked higher than us at the time. And in that game, I was shown that if Trevor Keels can go into the body and score an and-one layup against Oscar Tshiebwe, one of the best rebounder in the country, he can do it against Armando Bacot or whoever else they throw at him. So do not sleep on Trevor Keels in the and-one opportunity. Do not sleep on Wendell Moore. He can definitely take advantage of matchups. I think whoever Leaky Black is guarding is
out of the game.
is probably going to have trouble. But that's what switching is for.
Yeah.
Try to get somebody else into that spot and maybe put a weaker, like if Trevor Keels is having a bad game, put him on, because Trevor Keels can defend too. So, but then for UNC, let's talk UNC. Right, I've called this guy a glorified Tanner Groves all season long, and I still stand by it. Brady Manick is a glorified Tanner Groves, but the guy can hit threes. Everything else, I mean, he is just not good, but he can hit threes. He can hit threes. He can't defend, but the guy can shoot. So, depending on who is, guarding him, he could make it a tough night for them. Also, I think Armando Bacot could be a matchup nightmare just because of his size. Obviously, he's not near as big as Mark Williams, but he just finds ways to get rebounds, and that's good. I'm giving you guys credit. If I had time to argue, I would not be giving UNC credit. But like I said, those are two matchups. Another one, these guys are like, it's just so incredibly impossible to predict who's good and who's bad on every game. So I'm not going to say Caleb Love or RJ Davis just because I don't know which one's going to be good.
You find out when the game starts.
Exactly. Once that ball is tipped, we'll see. But until then, that is my synopsis of matchups.
And I just want to piggyback off of a couple things. Coop said Leaky Black is one of the best defenders in the country. He's very, very good. I mean, he guarded A.J. Griffin in the last game.
I was going to say, he shut A.J. Griffin down.
A.J. Griffin played 34 minutes, shot 2 for 5, scored 5 points.
Well, he shot 5 shots. Maybe
he shut A.J.
because
Griffin
he didn't get
down.
any shots.
That's part of the reason why Carolina beat Duke in Cameron, was because
if he takes 10 shots, he's not going 2 of 10, though. So, you got to understand.
And
he didn't.
He might.
Anyways, no.
And to the Brady Manick point, Brady Manick is quoted as saying that he couldn't guard himself. So he knows he's a defensive liability.
That's unfortunate because he plays 35 minutes a game, Jeff.
He's trying his best.
He plays 35-plus minutes. He needs to guard.
He's an excellent shooter.
I said that.
He's hit 5 threes against Duke last time in Cameron. Has had a couple of big performances in the round of 64 and the round of 32. Of course, he had 25, 25 it was, in the Baylor game, and there was still 10 minutes left when he got ejected for no reason. But, yeah, I just wanted to, add on to those points.
I want to say this. It's kind of a stretch for you to say that Brady Manick can. He shoots three. He's got.
I said he can shoot.
He can shoot, yeah,
and he can shoot threes.
I mean, he can. But he's also. I mean, he can still rebound. I mean, he can still score in the paint. He can still score from mid range.
That won't be happening though.
I mean, he can score from all 3 levels of the court. But yeah, I agree. He's his own defensive liability.
I think he could score over the 3 of us, maybe in the paint. But Mark Williams and Theo John or Paulo Banchero, not going to happen. But I think, you know what, you make a good point, Jason. He would take us to town in the paint. But, again, he's 6'9", and we're like 5'11" on a good day. But, anyways.
I give myself 6 foot.
Yeah, I like to say that on a good day.
In shoes.
It's kind of like,
platforms.
I guess, like I've said it, I guess now this is probably my 3rd time saying it, but really when you look at both of these teams, there's at least 4 guys on both teams at least that can score double digits in points, at least. And so it's just a matter of how you want to utilize those guys and who you want to run your offense through. Of course, Carolina's going to attempt to run their offense through Caleb Love. The one thing that I noticed at Cameron, they couldn't stop the pick and roll at all games. So you got to wonder if maybe they'll try to implement that pick and roll again. They're going to try to. Carolina's going to try to get Brady Manick off ball screens, open. Behind the arc off of ball screens. That's going to happen.
Yes,
it's happened all year. And then I guess when you look at the Duke side of things, I mean Trevor Keels, he has great games. Paolo, of course. Paolo, it's amazing to me. It's like you'll watch a Duke game, and then you'll say, oh, Paolo didn't even really play that great. And then he still gets 10, 15, 17 points a game.
Double-doubles. He gets double-doubles almost every game.
It's like a quiet double-double almost every game. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't realize he played that well, And so Jeremy Roach, you could even say. I mean, Jeremy Roach has played great all tournament. there's so many
Mark
weapons
Williams.
really that both teams have. It's just a matter of how they want to utilize those weapons and how you want to run your game plan and who you want to run your offense through in this game. I would like to say Carolina's initial plan is to try to attack the paint and be dominant in the paint.
It's not going to work.
And then,
going to work. They need to rely on the threes. They relied on the outside shots. Didn't really work.
I'd like to think that that's their plan, is to dominate in the paint, set a good paint presence, and then that forces Duke to kind of have to try to drop back on defense, which then opens the three more, because Duke's probably more than likely when that happens going to end up going into zone. I know Coach K plays both man and zone. He likes to play on both. So I don't know. I mean, there's so many different options here that you could go to as far as game plan is concerned on both sides. It's really hard to tell, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just a coin flip. I mean, realistically, you can say that Carolina should attack the paint. You can say that Duke should attack the paint. But looking purely at matchups, if that's what we're doing, we're just throwing you-know-what at a wall and hope it sticks when we say any of this, right? So what I am getting at here, matchup and stylistically, if Carolina wants to win, point blank, they're not going to do it in the paint. They have to win by Brady Manick hitting his threes, Caleb Love or R.J. Davis, one of them getting hot, and a complimentary player, somebody else to get hot. Because that's their cash cows, so to speak. Baycott will obviously get you your rebounds and maybe 10-plus points, but you're really getting the rebounds out of him. You're not getting the points that you're going to get out of Manick or Davis or Love. But stylistically, Carolina has to win this game by threes or, getting in the lanes. They're not just going to feed a big man, and it's not going to work. You're not going to feed a big man and hope to get over Mark. Mark led the ACC in blocks this year. Mark will block anybody on your team. So you can't just feed it to a big man and hope you get good inside. It's not going to work. Brady Manick can't play that game.
I'd like to make a counterpoint.
For 40 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're thinking that Mark Williams is going to affect the paint play all game?
Oh, of course. Well, if it won't be Mark, it's going to be Theo John. Theo John actually was the rebound leader when he played at Marquette. He was the rebound leader. What is that, the Big East? He led the Big East in rebounds before he transferred. The guy is a bona fide rebound machine, and I have seen him get blocks against the likes of Oscar Sheboy. Carolina's
still going to get it in the paint. Carolina's still going to be effective in the paint.
Carolina will still struggle
that's not going to change.
Mondo Baycott last game against Duke, Jason, 10 of 11 shooting, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks, 23 points.
Oh, is that right?
And where did all that come from?
3 or
in
4
the paint.
from the free throw line.
In the paint. Well, minus, I guess, 20 of the. How many did he have? 23?
23 points.
Okay, so
10 of 11.
20 of the 23 points came from in the paint. So, I mean.
Okay, but how often does he do that? Like, how often does Armando Baycott do that against a team like that?
He led the game in scoring against St. Peter's.
St. Peter's? Oh, my gosh, he did so good. Good job for St. Peter's, the 15 seed.
Yeah.
Good job.
Play who's in front of you.
It doesn't matter who's in front of you if it's a 15 seed. Literally. Okay, do not even come to me with that. I was hoping you wouldn't come to me with the 15 seed stuff, man. Stop. No.
Clarence Rupert is a force in the paint, and Armando Baycott took him to town.
Their biggest, literally, if you look at their starting lineup for St. Peter's, their biggest guy was 6'9". But he didn't. Drame was one of their biggest players. Drame was one. Okay, I'm not even getting into that.
But
guys,
you can't act like one guy for Duke is going to affect Carolina's paint play, because it's not going to happen.
I didn't say it was just Mark. I said it was Mark and
Theo John.
And obviously Paolo.
But you can't say 2 guys. Okay, even 3. Carolina's still going to get it in the paint. Carolina is still going to
struggle because Duke is going to turn on the Jets.
When we talk about the paint, it's not, spin it down to the block and hope Baycott hits a hook shot.
Because that won't happen. It's not going to happen.
It's
also getting high ball screens, and it's also driving.
Let's go watch
guards,
tape, see how many of those were actual pure bully block, and see how many of those were actually points. Let's see how many of those he actually got. Because I guarantee you, 23 points did not come from him blocking someone.
It came from wide open dunks because of the ball screens up top.
Okay, so is that really paint points then if he's just wide open dunks?
Yeah, it's in the paint.
He couldn't stop the pick and roll.
But the point is, he wasn't being guarded by anybody if he was wide open. If he is guarded by somebody, he is not going to have that.
Yes, he will.
No, he won't.
absolutely will. Yes,
Dog, he is
I'm
not as good as you
telling
guys say
you.
he is. I'm sorry. Where is he on the
telling
big boards, by
I mean,
the
he
way?
should have been
Mark Williams is
ACC player
around
of the
1.
year.
So where's he on the big boards?
Yeah, I agree. Armando should have easily been ACC Player of the
He's
Year.
not. No,
Very
he's not
easily.
even anywhere on the big boards.
Very
Why does nobody
easily.
else see what you guys see? You guys are UNC fans. Why does nobody else see what you see?
Doesn't mean that he can be good in college and not be good in the NBA. That
Okay,
happens
but
a lot of
at
times.
the
Tyler
point of the
Hansbrough is one of
matter
the greatest
is-
college basketball players of all time,
And
he
was
did nothing
garbage in the
pros.
NBA. Yeah.
Greatest of all time. I think we need to stop this
I
conversation.
mean, he's one of the best Carolina players of all time. I'd have to say.
No, he said best college basketball
I said
player
one
of all
of.
time.
I said one of.
Yeah, but that's not a conversation for right now because that's
ACC
not true.
all-time leader in points. Kind of a big deal.
What What
Okay,
there for like
all
5 years? Anyway.
So
Four.
we need to I guess kind of transition.
Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Champion.
Okay.
Champion went undefeated.
Sorry,
in,
we can go to break if you're going.
went-
Oh,
went-
2015
went-
swept
went
champions. Okay.
Went undefeated in
Last time you
Cameron
guys
too. Never lost in Cameron.
2017.
Oh,
It's
okay.
more recent.
Never lost in Cameron.
Where was your MVP though? Where was your MVP? Exactly.
I don't
I'm
know
just
what
kidding.
Carolina.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what you're
Exactly.
talking about either. I really don't know what you're talking about. MVP. What are you talking about?
Oh, he was making a point about Tyler Hansbrough being MVP, and I was like, okay, then where was your most recent one?
I mean, Joel Berry, 2017, most outstanding player. Final
No. I said MVP, like of the season. Like where
Yeah,
where
Tyler
was it?
Hansbrough.
No. Okay, yeah, that's what I was saying. After that, where was it? Okay.
I mean, we still won a championship.
Congratulations, we did in 2015. Why are we still talking about this?
But what we're
Why
saying
are we
is
still
it's
talking
six-
about
I mean,
this?
6 is more than 5, so.
Yeah, actually, it's
What, 6
it's
and what?
technically-
1910?
It's technically
those don't-
Come
7.
on, man. Those don't
It's,
count,
it's
dog.
technically 7, I guess.
Actually, would have 7.
Yeah.
But 1924 doesn't count
I
as
was gonna
pre-World
say,
They didn't
War
count.
II.
They didn't
Stop
count
it.
1924, but I guess
1940 still counts
I
too.
guess- I guess-
1957 beat Wilt Chamberlain.
That's cool.
I mean,
I
That's
guess
cool.
technically-
I guess
Credit there.
1957.
I guess technically you could. I like to count the very first championship we ever won and say we have 7. I mean, there's 7 banners hanging in the Dean Dome.
That's cool.
You know, so I mean, either way, 6 is greater than 5, 7 is greater than 5. There's no way around it.
Well, it's about to be
So,
6, buddy. So strap in.
You still got 2 games before
about
you
to be
even
6.
before you even tie us. You still got to beat us and the national and win the national championship. So.
Okay, go back to 57. Let's live in that
Still,
one.
still- still-
Those 6 have come more
don't have
recent than you.
You've still got at least 80
those
minutes.
5 have come more recent than the 6.
You've still got at least 80 minutes before.
Our winning has come more
before you-
recently. So, anyways.
You've got at least 80 minutes before you can even say you have 6 titles. At least 80 minutes.
Oh, that's great.
Actually, I'm sorry.
That's great.
Yeah, at least
I'd rather
80
say that I'm
minutes.
about to win one than I won one in 1950. Like, I don't care
We
about
won
that.
one in
Carolina's still in the Final Four, too.
2017. Yeah,
They're playing
I mean,
each other.
We've got
I
a more
mean-
recent one than Carolina does.
Okay.
I mean, come on now. Okay,
No,
all right.
no, come
So
on.
we got to, I guess, transition here, but because we'll argue about it the whole show. So
Living in the past.
you- if-
57, baby.
why are you so hung up on 1957, bro?
You asked me for the facts. I gave
The
you the
old
facts.
titles. I
That was
really
the
don't
oldest
care
title.
about 1950, dog. Like your parents weren't even alive, and if I'm not gonna say anything else. But
He's getting heated.
I don't know. We said before the show that we weren't going to do this, and this is
Yeah, seriously. All right, so I want to kind of take it now from a coach's perspective. So if you're Hubert Davis and Coach K, defensively, what guys are you kind of focusing on? You know, do you
Did we already talk about
do you
this?
focus on
a little bit.
Do you
Okay.
focus on Paolo, AJ Griffin, Trevor Keels? You know, do you focus on Brady Manick, Caleb Love, RJ Davis, and Warren Baycott? I mean, from both coaching perspectives, who's the one guy that you would say, okay, I'll let anybody but this guy beat me?
I mean, well, Paolo Banchero is a star of Duke. He's leading the team in scoring in the tournament, led the team in scoring all year. Can score from all 3 levels. But they have a plan. I feel like Hubert will have a plan in place to try and shut him down. AJ Griffin will be a non-factor if he's guarded by Leaky Black. So it'll all depend on the guard play,
that's
like
gonna happen twice.
Keels or Roach. So that's who I'm focusing on if I'm Carolina, and Duke can take Coop can take the Duke perspective.
Well, lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place. So I don't think even if Leaky is guarding AJ, that is going to happen
He's got a
again.
graveyard of great ACC
That's
players.
cool,
that
but
he
lightning
shut
doesn't
down.
strike twice, and I promise you it won't here.
No.
Struck like
Lightning doesn't strike
struck like
twice.
8 times.
Oh, but did it? Wait, what happened? What happened in the Duke UNC game in the Dean Dome though? Did
They
he
didn't
lock
have,
him
they
down?
didn't
Yeah,
have
they didn't
their,
put
they didn't
Leaky
have
on
their
AJ
matchup
Griffin.
straight.
Yeah.
Well, what does it matter,
They didn't have
though?
Leaky on AJ Griffin.
We figured out the defense, and Leaky Black is now shutting everyone down
You
that he
think
needs
so?
to shut down. Yeah.
You think it's going to happen? It's not
Yeah.
going to happen.
You know,
but I
Leaky-
respect your.
that's your
If
opinion.
Leaky
Yeah.
was tall enough, Leaky would be all over Paolo
Because,
Saturday.
honestly,
but Leaky's just not. I mean,
Having Leaky on the floor just for the defense is great, but he adds nothing to the offensive side of the floor, so that's cool.
that I disagree with
No, I don't.
150,000%.
Well, I'm not finished talking, Jason.
Man,
but
man gets
Jason,
4,
I'm not
5,
finished
6
talking.
assists a game,
No, I'm
4 or
not.
5 rebounds a game. I mean,
Man can't score though. Unfortunate.
He can score,
but
it's
you know
just
the
not in his
scoreboard
game.
is really important because that determines who wins.
He can
but,
score, it's just not in his game.
But what I was going to say is lightning doesn't strike twice.
It
so it won't. Lightning doesn't strike twice, Jason. Look it up. It won't. So for one thing, AJ Griffin will have another good game because he's been having a good tournament, and I promise you right now, it's going to be hard to either shut down one of the two, Keels or Roach. Those two, one of the two, and then we're all forgetting about Wendell Moore, who is a player who can change the atmosphere of the games. You guys should
Duke
know.
captain.
You guys should know very well about him tipping a ball in to beat you in overtime. So
I knew him in high school.
but
Yeah.
no, that's. Oh, you did? Did you guys hang out and stuff?
No, I mean,
Okay,
like,
okay. Anyways, anyways,
unnecessary.
no, I mean he said I knew him in high school, so I wanted to know if they hung out or if they were friends or anything, but he didn't. So, another matchup I like is a guy that hasn't been able to be stopped yet either. Really, is at this tournament at least is Mark Williams. He is not he has been a factor in every game we've played, and he will continue to be a factor because I truly believe that he is coming on at the right time. He is peaking at the right time. I've criticized Mark Williams for his first year, basically the entire first year of his. I've criticized him, but I believe he is honestly peaking at the right time, and man, I cannot wait for Saturday.
So you're thinking if you're Hubert Davis, you're saying, okay, I'm stopping Mark Williams out of anybody on
No,
this whole
that was the last player I said, Jason. You weren't listening. Who did I say?
I mean, Paolo Banchero is the #1 guy you got to stop.
No, but they're going to try to stop Paulo, but
Yes.
you got to stop someone else. You
Yeah.
can't just stop Paulo, my man.
Wendell Moore is the guy you said. Jeremy Roach.
No, I said the first one I said
I mean,
was
I'm naming all the
AJ
guys.
Griffin because I said lightning doesn't strike twice.
AJ Griffin will get shut down.
Said-
And no, he's not going to get shut down. So, anyways, assuming that AJ Griffin doesn't get shut down, then the next matchup I mentioned was either Keels or Roach. One of those two players, if not both. Both of them can get hot. They can all shoot free throws. And then another, matchup to look at would be Mark. But that was the last one I mentioned, Jason. You didn't hear the first three I said, but you should have.
Mainly because I was kind of in shock of what you said. Mainly
I mean, I said the same thing 20 minutes ago. You guys didn't seem to be in shock, but
because
same exact thing.
Well, I
Just
didn't-
repeating myself at this point. We've been talking about this for 40 minutes.
I think if you're Coach K, the one guy that you're going to have to stop if you want to win, and you look at it even going back to the Baylor game, is Brady Manick. I mean, look at how on a decline Carolina went when Brady Manick was out of the game. So I think Brady Manick is the one guy you have to stop if you're Coach K. That's the one guy I would focus on. And then if you're Hubert, obviously you want to say Paolo, obviously, but the problem is you don't know in the end if you're better off trying to stop Paolo or if you're better off trying to stop Trevor Keels. I mean, it's kind of like, I guess, like I said, pick your poison sort of thing. I think the safer option is Paolo. The problem is our best defender is 4 or 5 inches shorter than Paolo. I mean, Paolo's 6'10". Leaky's
Leaky's
what?
6'8".
Okay, so Leaky's 2 inches shorter. Okay, so
That's how they matched up the first time, and it didn't work out.
It won't work out if they do it again.
Well, yeah, they made adjustments for the second game, and then it did work out.
So my guess is it's probably going to end up being AJ Griffin again. If I had to guess, that's who I would say, just because it worked back in Cameron. That's the one guy that I would probably end up focusing on. I don't want to get into who wins it because I think we all three know what we're all three going to say in this room, who's going to win it. So I don't want to get into that. But I do know one thing. We do need to take a commercial break. So
This was a 25-minute segment that went 38 minutes.
I know. Yeah.
I just said we've been talking for 40 minutes. Like,
So
I'm aware.
We're going to take a break. Looks like we won't get into the App State Pro Day stuff, but I do want to touch on NFL stuff today just because there's some kind of big news, I guess. So we're going to take a break really quick. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to SportsWrapp presented by Eggers, and Eggers right here on 90.5 WASU FM.
Appalachian State University's Performing Arts Series, the Schaefer Center, presents a spring season featuring The Little Prince from Ballet X, Afro Jazz from Nubuntu, and singer-songwriter Roseanne Cash. Tickets on
Life is a journey. We're told that there are mountains and valleys before us. A mountaineer trudges through. Where others see an obstacle, a mountaineer sees an opportunity. A mountaineer climbs tomorrow's mountains today. So what is a mountaineer? A mountaineer is you.
This program is sponsored by Eggers Law Firm, located on West King Street in downtown Boone. From business to traffic matters, the Eggers Law Firm has provided legal service to the High Country since 1950. As fourth-generation Appalachian alumni, the Eggers Law Firm is here to assist you with legal help when you need it. The Eggers Law Firm, 737 West King Street.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I go home. I'm probably okay. I roll the window down to keep alert.
Sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Ad Council, NHTSA, and 90.5 WASU FM.
Hey, this is Brian Fisher, host of the Short Order Lunch on Highway 106 and 102.3 right here in Boone. And you're listening to Sports Wrap on 90.5 The App, Boone's source for sports.
Brian Fisher, never heard of that guy. Don't know who he is. Don't know if I necessarily care to know who he is. No, I'm just kidding. I really have never kind of heard about that guy. So yeah, that's one of the many multiple cool little back ends that we have. We have about 5 or 6 of them here on the board that we use. So that's just one of them. That one doesn't get played very often, so I thought maybe I'd kind of change it up some. So, yeah, whew. A lot of hostility that first segment right there.
So NFL, right? Anyways,
Bruce
NFL.
Arians.
That segment, yeah, went pretty long. But yeah, no, I wanted to, like I said, kind of get into some of the NFL. So obviously by now we know Tom Brady came back from retirement. It's kind of old news now. But what is not new news is Bruce Arians resigning as head coach and taking a front office role, which that was very surprising. But there are kind of rumors, I guess. Of course, you don't ever know what to think about rumors going around that Bruce Arians and Tom Brady kind of butted heads. So, I mean, did this move surprise y'all as much as it did me? Or was this something that you probably could have seen coming?
I don't know that it's kind of surprising, but also the way I understand it is it was more of a transition than just like a straight retirement from him, because obviously he's going to front office position. But also, I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's been some stuff swirling around the internet, and apparently Ndamukong Suh has thrown his name into the ring, saying that he would come back and play for Todd Bowles, because obviously he played under Todd Bowles when he was still in Tampa Bay. I think it's interesting, though. Maybe some other players will start to kind of come out of the woodworks. I don't know if it was hard to work with Bruce Arians. We don't know. We're just, again, guessing because we don't play NFL football and we don't play for Bruce Arians.
It's true.
So if that's true, obviously, who do you pick? Do you pick Tom Brady, as one of the best quarterbacks of all time, or do you pick Bruce Arians? Was that a choice from, I believe his name is Jason Light. It's L-I. Anyways.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
He's the head guy pretty much for the Bucs, and essentially, I guess, who does word run through when you're in a situation with Tom Brady, obviously, and then Bruce Arians, who I'm not going to scoff at him. He's a great coach. He will probably eventually be a Hall of Fame coach. I don't know for sure, but anyways, I think it's an interesting move, and I don't know about you guys. Do you guys think Todd Bowles will work as a head coach? Because he's great defensive mind. Great defensive mind. You think he'll work as a head coach?
He didn't work as a head coach where he came from.
That's right. That's why I mentioned it.
Well, he has been a head coach before with the Jets, but you can't do much with that. I mean, that was the last time the Jets were at least average. Was when he was the head coach. This news was a little bit surprising. Bruce Arians, he's an old guy. I think people are forgetting that. He's 69 years old. So moving to the front office, I don't think will be that big of a change. Obviously, we'll have no say in in-game decisions. And I would, if I'm the Buccaneers, I trust a guy like Todd Bowles who has head coaching experience with those decisions. So while the move may be surprising, I don't think things are going to change much schematically, at least with the Buccaneers, because they have the same exact coaching staff.
Yeah, I saw a thing today that I thought was pretty interesting, and I'm not going to get into all of this super deeply, but I did see, the NFL kind of adjusted their protocol as far as the Rooney Rule is concerned, but I saw somebody say something along the lines of, Bruce Arians kind of had his own little Rooney Rule going on with, two female, people on his staff, and then you have, Todd Bowles as well, and then he ends up giving, Todd Bowles a head coaching spot. When you've got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time on your team, he's going to make any head coach that's good, bad, whatever, make him look like a great head coach. I mean, that's just how it's going to work. The question is going to be, now you brought back Chris Godwin. Gronk, I know that when Tom retired, Gronk was, basically like, okay, I'm done. I know the Bills at one point were interested in signing him. Now,
the Bengals too.
Yeah, the Bengals now, because C.J. Uzoma left, didn't he? I think he went to the Jets. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. So now, you've got to wonder, will Gronk come back? But it surprised me just because, okay, I personally liked Bruce Arians in Arizona. I thought he did a good job in Arizona. He was, at the time, one of my favorite head coaches. I think he does a great job at coaching. Maybe it just got to the point where Bruce said, okay, I came back to try to win a Super Bowl title. I win a Super Bowl. I've had my fun in coaching. And Bruce Arians coached a long time. He might have just said, I want to go into more of an executive type role within the organization. I mean, you never know. He might have just kind of been burnt out of coaching in general. It's kind of hard to tell in that sense. So the next biggest news, I guess, of the day was actually announced about an hour probably before the show even started, was Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner, the Seahawks basically completely cleaning house, said goodbye to Russell Wilson. They're potentially the best quarterback in franchise history. Maybe Hasselbeck, you could say it was a little better.
Russell Wilson far better than Matt Hasselbeck.
I miss him, man.
And then you get rid of one of the best, statistically, one of the best linebackers in the NFL since he got to the NFL in Bobby Wagner. Now you get Bobby Wagner, which I believe he was the last player of the LOB still left on that defense, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe
they've run through everybody.
So now he's over in LA, signed a 5-year deal. I'm not sure the exact numbers on the contract, how much the money is, but
a 5-year, $50 million deal.
So $10 million a year, which is pretty good, I guess, for Bobby Wagner, especially with him up in age. And Bobby Wagner's an older linebacker, but he's still very efficient linebacker. So does this immediately make the Rams once again a Super Bowl contender? Because you add Bobby Wagner to a defense with Aaron Donald, and then you add him to a defense with Jalen Ramsey. So does this make them once again a potential Super Bowl contender again?
I think obviously they've retained a lot of talent. And aside from losing their Pro Bowl and I would say eventual Hall of Fame left tackle Andrew Whitworth, that was probably, in my opinion, their biggest loss. I think aside from that, they're kind of like essentially like the Buccaneers last year. They returned, I believe, all but one starter. I think they returned 21 or 22. I think it was 21 starters from the Super Bowl team when they beat the Chiefs. I think it is very similar kind of outlook to that team as it was for the Bucs. Everyone kind of had the Bucs like normally that's how it works. When this team wins a Super Bowl, they still are considered contenders unless they blow it up like the Seahawks did. But that's not the case. Obviously, Matt Stafford just signed an extension, or so he's going to be in LA for a while, which I think was a good move for them. But that's beside the point. Are the Rams contenders again? Yes. And a short answer, yes.
Yeah, I agree that the Rams are still contenders. Talking about some guys that they've lost, Von Miller is a guy that they lost who was a big piece of their Super Bowl run. They traded away Robert Woods, which I feel like a lot of people are overshadowing that, but you know what they did? They signed Allen Robinson to replace him. They lost a guy like Darius Williams, which it could hurt a little bit in the secondary. But as far as the offensive line goes, I mean, Austin Corbett's gone, but they re-signed Joe Noteboom, Brian Allen, two guys that are starters, and picking up a guy like Bobby Wagner to lead that already talented defense is only going to make them better, and especially in the NFC where they lack true contenders. It's really just the Bucs, Packers, and them, to be quite frank. So I think this is going to be a good move in the short term for the Rams. I guess they just have infinite money. They're just printing it themselves so they can sign all these big free agents. But yeah, I think it's a great move for the Rams.
Now, I guess my question is because you got to think out in the NFC West, you have who? You have the Rams, you have the Cardinals, you have the Seahawks. Who else is
49ers.
49ers. Okay, so the 49ers made the NFC championship game last year. Yeah. Can the Rams potentially win that division again? We rode, I guess, going into the season pretty highly on the Cardinals, and a lot of people did at least. Yeah. And so you got to wonder, okay, the Cardinals will still be there.
Yeah, they still won 11 games, didn't they? I believe they won 11 games this year.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
10, 11, something like that. So, yeah, you've got to wonder even now if the Rams will end up winning that division. I think the answer is yes, just because of. But Super Bowl hangover plays a part in that too. So you truly, I guess, don't ever really know. So
as far as the Super Bowl hangover goes, there were those weird rumors that McVay and Aaron Donald would retire after they won last time. That was the most random, Super Bowl night
he's
report.
He's like 29 or maybe 31,
exactly.
30.
And Sean McVay's not much older than Aaron Donald.
Right. No. But they avoided that, and I truly believe that they want to go get another one, hence signing a guy like Bobby Wagner, extending Stafford, and getting Allen Robinson as well for that team. And then, taking a look at that division, the Cardinals are going to be the Cardinals. I feel like they're at their limit where they are because they have such a talented team, but they still haven't really put it together per se.
Yeah,
I agree that I think they've peaked where they're at right now. And a team like the 49ers, they've got a lot to sort out as far as the quarterback position goes, what they want to do with Jimmy G, Trey Lance, and of course the Seahawks are non-factors.
They blew it up, yeah.
So taking a look at the Rams, they're in a pretty good spot for the next few years.
I think what was surprising to me was, I want to say there was only, two teams that really showed any interest in Bobby Wagner. That was the Ravens and then the Rams, right? I believe. So, I would like to say the Rams. I think right now, now that Aaron Rodgers doesn't have Devontae Adams, now that he doesn't have
he lost MVS, Marcus Valdez-Scantling.
That's what I was about to say. Lost him too. Now you've got to say, okay, are the Rams clear favorites to win the NFC again unless just some team catches you by surprise and ends up taking that spot? Too. Yeah, could it be the Bucs? Will it be the Bucs? I don't know. It was surprising to me just going to the Bucks, that Tom Brady even retired, because I thought that Tom Brady came back, because I thought, okay, he's won more Super Bowls rings than you can fit on one hand. So, I mean...
Yeah, he's got nothing left to accomplish.
Yeah, so what else is there to accomplish? I mean, are you just playing, I guess, for the love of the game itself? I mean, I don't know. He did say, though, that he wanted to play into his... Don't be surprised. I'm going to say this now, and we can, I guess, run the tapes back in a couple years. Don't be surprised if LeBron and Tom Brady both retire in the same season.
It's definitely going to be after Bronny gets there, because he's already said that.
Yeah, he's already said he's playing at least 1 year with Bronny. So I'm just, and Bronny's, what, he's a junior,
he's a junior in high school?
Okay, so that's at least 3 more years for LeBron. So I'm just saying, don't be surprised if they both end up retiring in the same time.
We'll see how this year goes.
Will he start losing to the war of attrition is the question.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting hurt a lot now too. He's got a bum ankle, and then of course Anthony Davis is going to come back after LeBron gets hurt. But no, I think that this season in general is going to be very, very fun and interesting to watch. And one of the things that I was going to add to this list that I didn't add was, there's a toss-up between, who's going to end up being the number 1 overall pick in the draft, who's going to be the first quarterback to go in the draft. And so I kind of I was going to add this one to it and kind of just ask y'all, who do you think is going to be the top quarterback to go in the draft? Because a lot of people are saying the Panthers will take Kenny Pickett at 6. Then you got people saying the Panthers will take Malik Willis at 6. Then you've got people saying, there might not be a quarterback taken until a double-digit, pick. So that was kind of something that I wanted to say. Everybody's saying maybe Aiden Hutchinson goes number 1, saying maybe Kayvon Thibodeau goes number 1. They were saying the Michigan guy, then he goes and tears his Achilles and pulls a Jalen Smith. I mean, that sounds bad, but so I was going to throw that one in there, but I didn't. So
yeah, I mean, we can go over that anyways. I think the Panthers are the prime candidate to take the first quarterback. Yeah. I was just going to say the first quarterback.
Especially with the off-season offensive line signings they've done.
And I prefer that they take Malik Willis. I know he's on the shorter side, but there's so much upside there with his speed, his humongous arm. I think he can improve on accuracy. I just think the ceiling is a lot higher with him than taking Kenny Pickett.
I think I'll say this right now. I know this is the most volatile first round or first 10 that I've seen. It's changed right now. They have the Texans taking Sauce Gardner. He's a defensive back from
Cincinnati, right?
From Cincinnati. And I think that is purely just because he met with Houston this past week. That's how volatile this is. They had us taking either Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau a week ago. But now they're like, oh, well, he met with him, so he's going third. Sauce Gardner's going third. But I don't really know, Jason, honestly, to tell you the truth. Do the Panthers surprise all of us, trade back, or do they pick someone else? Do they go somewhere else? Do they get a lineman? Do they get a defensive lineman? It's so hard once you get out of those top 2, essentially, because by the time the draft comes around, I think we all know pretty much we know who the number 1 is going to be. But after that, it tumbles like dominoes.
It'll be a defensive guy, I think, for the Jaguars at number 1.
Right now, Trayvon Walker. Right now, he hasn't been in the top 5. He is at number 2 right now in some mock drafts. Trayvon Walker. And Kayvon Thibodeau has slid down to number 7 in some drafts. And now, I'm not making an argument for either one. I think it's so volatile. Could Kayvon go first? Could Aiden go first? Could Trayvon go 5th? Could Trayvon go 2nd?
Right.
So.
Well, I think going to that, you say, a lot of times who the number 1 overall pick is going to be. But the year Baker went number 1 overall, nobody was expecting Baker to go number 1 overall. And John Dorsey comes out and surprises us on draft day, hours before the draft, and says, we're taking Baker first overall. So you've seen things like that happen before.
Yeah. And I feel like with that draft, though, people had an idea of what teams were going to take what position. In this top 10, all these teams have needs in everywhere. They're the bottom tier of this league it's bad to be quite honest with you. So I mean, as Coop said, it's always changing. It should be interesting to see how it shakes out come draft week too.
I think, and I could be wrong, I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a bust in the NFL.
Wow.
Could be wrong, but I think he's going to end up being a bust.
I haven't seen him play that much, so I can't really speak to how good he is, but
I think too. The only reason I said the Panthers and Kenny Pickett and everything is because I saw on NFL Live today, Dan Orlovsky basically bashing Kenny Pickett, saying the Panthers would be basically ignorant to take Kenny Pickett at number 6 overall. Well, Swagoo, Marcus Spears agreed with him, so they both said maybe draft back in the order and try to even get like a Desmond Ridder.
Desmond Ritter's not bad. I don't like him that much.
They're so dead set. I feel like on. They're so dead set on kind of Sam Darnold that you don't ever know what they're going to do.
I mean, this draft I'm looking at right now, it's a CBS draft. It has Malik Willis going 18 to the Saints. So, I mean, really, and then it has
the entire NFC South outside of the Buccaneers will be in the market for a quarterback in this first round.
And yeah, exactly. And Kenny Pickett is number 6 to Carolina on this draft. I mean, it obviously is subject to change, but it's so volatile.
There's the NFL draft is still a couple of weeks away, so we got time to talk about that in the future. But as for now, we're actually in, looks like on time. Well, we're going to start shout-outs on time. So that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Wrap. But as always, we got to do the shout-outs, and I'm going to run some Return of the Mac once again. So got to kind of make this one quick just because they need the studio upstairs. So we got to kind of roll with this one. So, Coop, go ahead.
Real quick shout out to my folks listening back home and to everyone supporting me. Just recently accepted a job opportunity, so I'm already in a job before I walk. That was a goal of mine. I got it. So shout out to
way to go, Coop.
Appreciate it.
Clap it up.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I got a clap. I don't think I have a clap. Never mind.
All right. Well,
never mind.
I'll just shout out everybody listening that I know. I appreciate you guys listening, of course. And my shout out will just go to the Hornets. They clinched a spot at least in the play-in tournament. So postseason basketball for the second straight year. Hopefully it lasts more than one game.
Yeah, that's awesome for the Hornets. You love to see it, especially because they've been the laughingstock of the NBA for a long time. My shout-out, of course, is going to go sentimental once again to my family for listening and for their support and everything else. I also yesterday got a job offered to be a minor league baseball broadcaster.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'm not one to brag on myself, but I feel like I'm
talk about mine.
No, you didn't. But my shout-out is actually going to go to the MLB. A week from today is opening day, so baseball fans are very excited about that. So yeah, that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Wrap. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We love your support. It pushes us to want to get on here to do this even more than we want to without it. So thank you so much once again for listening. For Jeff Marson, Cooper Govero, Jason Jameson, and JC Belfie upstairs up above us, we're once again more than overjoyed to be on here with you. Have a good rest of your week. We will see you once again on Tuesday to discuss the Duke and Carolina final and our final thoughts on that game. So as always, everybody have a great evening. Thank you again for listening, and as always, roll Nears, baby.